directed Animalistic. We're also joined by the producer.
Use the other mic.
Is that right? Yes. We're also joined by the producer and Amelia Fox and Jodie Whittaker also here, as is Ray Barker, I believe. So if you'd like to welcome them all, welcome them all. So Dana, I guess how exactly did the project come about for you? How did you get involved with this particular story?
I read the script of a friend of mine, Alex Kustanovich, who was a fellow at AFI, the American Film Institute, with me, like 20 years ago, and I loved it. It was called The Veil of Maya at the time, and I just felt a connection to the story right away. And he wrote it. He's a filmmaker, a writer. And he wrote it with a friend of his, Vadim, who is also Russian. They're both Russians. They live in New York. And I don't know if you feel like Russian darkness in the movie, but that's where it comes from. And Vadim is a psychoanalyst. So they wrote this story together, and I just loved it, and showed the script to Ophir, who read it on a flight to Australia, I think, a flight to Australia. And when he landed, he decided he wants to make a movie, so that's how it started.
And Jodie, with regards to obviously your character does go back and forth through time, and obviously when you're shooting something like this, it's obviously not shot in sequence. So was it kind of hard to figure out where your character was on a particular?
Yeah, it was as well, because we shot it in 4 weeks, did we? Yeah, it was. So it's very quick, and so you kind of you don't move very far away from these scripts, just because kind of keeping a track of everything. But it was really important, I suppose, every day before a scene we kind of had to hash out what's gone before, but then the things that have gone before have not necessarily gone before on screen, and so it was a real challenge. But you know, it's exciting, and it was very different to anything I'd ever read.
Sure.
Can I say something about Jodie's audition?
Oh God.
You knew it was fine. Everybody that came into the audition, I brought, actually Catherine's daughters, I think, read the part against the other actresses. So you'll have 2 Mias in the room, and I would have the actress that came to audition read it twice against another actress. And Jodie came in, and she said, no, I don't need anybody. I'm like, okay, what is she going to do? And she just read both parts, looking to different directions at the same time.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that I didn't need anyone. I didn't think. I just thought I was in this. The audition was the scene in the cafe. So I thought, oh, that's a really tough scene to do on both parts. So I didn't think they'd bring anyone. So I learnt it both, and then I literally handed myself a letter, grabbed it with and stuff, and literally I was looking at Dan afterwards, and you're like, because I thought, oh, there's someone in the audition, and then afterwards they were like, oh yeah, she's here to read with you, and I was like, oh my god, that's humiliating.
It was amazing. It was amazing. In a weird way, it was the first time when Jodie read it. It was the first time that the scene actually made sense.
Sure.
So.
Okay, cool. And did that? I suppose kind of just branching on from that question. So did the narrative kind of pose any problems in production in terms of keeping track of everything, or how far in advance was everything worked out in terms of an overall? Sorry, that's a crap question. But essentially, what I mean is, was it hard keeping track on the production side of things and kind of working out which scenes could fall where and in which chronological order and which narrative order, or was that?
It was hard, of course, for Jodie's performance, like she said, but it was also hard just technically because we had to change her look, her wig, her makeup, her whole look had to be changed, and we didn't have much time, much turnaround. It was about an hour and a half to change from one look to another, so we couldn't always do it at the same day. And so it was very complicated and time-consuming to do that. I have a great story about Amelia's audition, but I'm going to say I'll tell you later.
Not strong, I think you have a room full of people that now want to hear it. So.
They want. With Amelia also, I mean, both, I feel very, very, very lucky with Dougray and Amelia and Jodie and Jonathan being part of this movie. I don't think it could have been done any other way, kind of like these are the characters. And Guy, I have to say, Guy Barker, who did all the trumpet, all the real playing, was amazing, was a great help, to Dougray, to get into that character of a real trumpet player, but also the music, I think, is so beautiful, that Guy did.
And how easy was it getting people like Jodie and Dougray and Amelia on board in terms of casting? Because, I mean,
Celestia, is she here? Celestia? Fox? Is she here?
Yeah.
Well, ask her how. The amazing Celestia Fox.
Celestia Fox, our casting director.
Our casting director is here. And, so, I think it was a very special script. I think it's a special movie, and you either get it or you don't. And, and I think that the people that got it and understood it got it on a deep level, and I think had a deep connection to the characters. Like, it was a real journey, and it started with Dougray in LA when I first met him, and we just dived into. I wish he was here, but he had to go shooting early tomorrow morning. But he just dived into an incredible amount of research, and we were influenced a lot by Chet Baker, if anybody knows. And I mean, we watched movies and we read their books, and it was really incredible. And then when we came to London, the rest of the cast just joined. It was kind of just a puzzle that came into place. And Jonathan, is Jonathan here? Jonathan came to read. Jonathan is the husband, Amelia's husband in the movie. And Jonathan came to read for one of the goons, one of the gangsters in the car. Remember Celestia? And I said, how about you read for the father? And he just did such a great read, I think. Good job.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions? No one.
Humphrey Dixon, the editor, is here. Humphrey? Room with a view. Okay, here is.
Well, think of some questions, so I'm going to come back to you, because this is sort of half what it's about, so you guys come up with something. What in the script particularly... Sorry, I'll start over. I'm in a bit of a frantic frame of mind today, it's all over the place. So, yes. So what in the script particularly drew you, Jodie, and you, Amelia, as well? Was there anything that particularly leapt out? And Dana says that you guys got the deepness of it all, but was there anything in particular that drew you within the characters? Or
Mine was vanity, because I thought, I get to play the whole part in that. But yeah, it was just really. I didn't get it at all. And the first time I read it, I didn't get it. And the first audition that we did wasn't a read, it was a chat,
Right.
Covent Garden Hotel.
Right.
And it was amazing to hear someone kind of be really clear about it, and to say, about where it's come from and the writers and things. And so then I got to take that away, and then the audition then wasn't for another kind of 2 weeks. So it kind of sunk in, and I still think like on the day I'll be like, what? What's happening? But it was, that just kind of really drew me to it, because I think, there's, for women, there's a kind of, often there's a very similar part that you kind of required to play. And for me, a lot of the time it's to do with my accent, or it's to do with, some kind of class system, or, that kind of thing. And so it's just really interesting that it was for really different people, but the same person as well. I kind of remembering that when you're 18, when I look back, I'm like a different person then, but actually it's still you, but it's just that kind of naivety or bounciness and
I'm not a very big drinker, so I thought it would be a bit of a challenge. So I took to Jack Daniels one night to see what it was like, and I don't really. Maybe it was just because I was drunk and didn't remember, but I don't remember being that drunk. But I do remember that the feeling was trying to be sober. And that was really helpful. So that was one of the reasons. I don't remember the audition at all.
No, it wasn't because there was no audition.
I had to drag Jack Daniels that one.
It was just a meeting. I forgot. It wasn't an audition.
But I do remember the first day of filming was the scene with Dubray in the kitchen, and Dubray's moustache suddenly went missing. And like everyone searched this whole house for Dubray's moustache. It was like, is it under a chair? No, it's not. Is it in the kitchen?
And we needed
is
it for
under
the next scene.
We needed it to clean us up to do it again. Anyway, for some reason I looked down my knickers and there was Dubray's moustache. That was a fine moment. And I think, as Jodie said, it was a really amazing film for playing the same character, but in very different guises through the ages, so it was a challenge in that way, and a challenge is always good as an actor.
I just want to add that Emilia, a year later, was 9 months pregnant, so it did inspire her.
It did, you're right. And it really was a great film to work on, so thank you.
Guy, with regards to the music, obviously, where you're essentially writing music for one of the main characters as well, so it sort of plays a large part in the film, almost like a character in a way. And did you have a particular approach in what you were writing when it came to that? Or?
Well, a lot of the things I was doing was I was playing some tunes that Mike Moran had written, and also a couple of things that I'd written, and it was just basically to get the whole mood right of what was going on. And the great joy about working with Dubray on this is because, you know, when you see a musician who's been playing all their lives, the amount of times you hear people say it's like they are one with their instrument, and so you're completely attached. It becomes your whole life. So when an actor has to suddenly become a musician and they've got 2 months to suddenly look as though they've had this instrument in their hands for 10 or 20 years, it's always difficult. And I had long conversations with Dubray, basically saying, now look at this guy when he plays. You know how when they're really good, everybody says they make it look so easy. And you notice they don't move. They don't actually physically move a lot. But when you see actors playing musicians, like for example even when Forrest Whitaker played Bird, Bird was motionless when he used to play, but it's this feeling that I'm not really playing, I'm not really a musician, but I have to get something across so they'll move. And I said, don't move, you know. So I would be recording the music in the studio booth, and Dubray came in and sat next to me with his trumpet, because he said he suddenly felt a far greater attachment if he was there. So whenever he was shooting a scene, I would be behind the camera playing for real as well, and he would just have his eye on me and follow all that, and I would say to him, just you know, make it look effortless, just do that. And then halfway through the shooting, I got a call saying, well, we've had this idea for this other scene, because Dubray's character's now washed up, but he goes back to the club, and wouldn't it be great if you're actually there? You've taken over the part, you're ruling the roost suddenly there. So I said, okay, great. So I went and recorded this piece, and I went up on the stage there, and there was the scene going, and I suddenly realised, right, so now I'm miming to myself. And what did I do? I started moving around, and I'm watching. Anyway.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes.
I imagine that this film is a different experience for women than it is for men to watch, and I obviously can only come at it from one point of view, but I'm interested to hear what the reaction has been from the women in your lives who've seen it, and also from yourselves as you see the final product. The female characters and what they go through probably resonates with every woman who watches it in some way or another, and they probably all have different reactions. So was it, first of all, what were the reactions that you got, and did it move you personally in
70s in the room. So very much. I think that, I mean, first of all, we didn't have, this is kind of like the first screening, official screening of the movies. I haven't had a chance of really hearing too many responses, but I think, talking on the set, and to some people that have seen it, I think that almost every woman, but also men, had a Ludwig in their life, in one way or another, and had a broken heart from a horrible person, or not a horrible person, but had a little devil in them that stopped them from moving forward or something. And I think that that's what I think a lot of people connect. Jodie, Amelia.
It's weird because I've seen it I've seen it twice now, but both times once was at the casting crew, and unfortunately, because I'm incredibly self-involved, I found it quite traumatising watching, because I now know exactly what I look like from various angles that I don't wish to see. So I couldn't, unfortunately, I couldn't step out of that very self-involved head of going, oh my god, you know. So I've not been able to kind of take myself. I need to sit down with, I suppose, like you say, with, you know, your mum or your girlfriends, and to see it in that sense, because it's quite difficult to, I suppose, distance yourself from the shooting of it, and then the fact that it is your work on screen. But I found it quite difficult because I've not had a Ludwig, and me and Dad, I'd sometimes be like, why don't you just punch him? And I get so, like, because I'm so fiery, and I'm a very stroppy person, I found it was a real challenge for me to kind of, you know, to be so, to have to let myself go with that kind of addiction that you can have over somebody, and that when they're not necessarily, it's a healthy relationship. So I really battled with that, because I'd be like,
She's just healthy.
dump him.
Yeah.
Get rid of him. So, but it was great, because it was hard, and there you go.
I think it's difficult to watch as a woman, isn't it? It's a horribly abusive relationship that he has with everyone who comes into his life. So, but I'd be interested to hear from a male point of view what they felt about him. Pretty much the same, I would hope.
I read 10, 15 pages of this script, and I fell in love with it, and I'm a man. But I think that one of the things that touched me is that the whole notion of this film is about what happened in a psychotherapy process, where people, men and women, go back in time to a traumatic moment of their life, and they face it. And by going through it, they take control of their life. And I think this is true about men and women as well.
Yeah, very. Yeah.
Anyone else?
You said that the script was written by two guys in New York. Was the script written for a New York scene, or was it written for London?
Yeah, it was written.
If so, why did you choose to shoot it in London?
You want to answer? It was written for New York, definitely. I think it's great. I will let Ophir answer that why it was in London, but I want to tell the whole audience, and I don't know if there's lots of filmmakers here or not, but London is an incredible place to shoot. I can't wait to shoot here again. I think it's a sort of a well-kept secret for independent, I'm not talking about James Bond and big movies, but I'm talking about little independent movies. It's unbelievable, the level of actors that you get for this kind of a movie, the level of technicians. George did a beautiful job, the DP, Humphrey is the editor. I mean, it's just really, you get incredible talent to work on a low budget with so much passion, and everywhere you put the camera, you have an incredible shot, because London just looks so beautiful, and you can shoot here. I shoot a lot in Canada, and I can't, you know, please the Canadians, don't get any, you know, but this is an incredible place to film.
So it's a long story, but one of the main reasons we shot in London is because I live here and my family lives here. So it's very simple, and I had to take Dana from her family. London is an amazing place to shoot. What was very difficult is that we shot in the middle of the winter. One of the reasons we shot in the middle of the winter is because we could get amazing cast, an amazing crew for much less in the regular rate, because usually people don't shoot in London in the winter. Unfortunately, there was snow, and it's a problem when we shot in the park, when we did the recce, which is when you go to the reconnaissance. The whole park, Battersea Park, was full of snow, and I was really, really white, like the snow, because what happened is when you shoot a scene that takes 5 minutes here, it takes 3 days in real life, and if the snow melts in the middle, you have to create artificial snow, and that's expensive. We didn't have it in the budget. So there is challenges in London, but I agree, it's an amazing place to make movies.
Dali, I think you mentioned earlier that it originally had a different title when you first read the script, and but the title now comes from a Leonard Cohen song. Is that correct? What inspired the change to what in the title, and what made that particular song stand out, or was that more down to the writers than?
Yeah, it's actually, it was called The Veil of Maya. Maya is my daughter, and so I had to change it, so it was The Veil of Mia. And then it was changed to Harmony, which kind of, we felt that the name of the club is Harmony, and we felt it's harmony between yourself in the past, in the present, and in the future. But nobody got it. So then Ophir, the producer...
Well, it's really Catherine, who read the poem, and it felt like it was tailored for this film. And then we asked Leonard Cohen to give us the rights, and he saw the film and gave us the rights for free, which is really, really unusual. And somebody told me that he identified a lot with Doug Gray, and that's one of the reasons.
Anyone else have any questions?
Since I'm not from London, can I ask if Kedar Street exists? I saw it at the very beginning.
Well, you notice this is a filmmaker who's talking. So part of the permit to shoot in this particular street where the house was, it's in Victoria by the way, was not to disclose what is the real name of the street. So our co-producer Chris, who unfortunately is not here, made a joke with me. He didn't even know, and all of a sudden there's a Kedar Street in London. SW1.
Anyone else? No. Right. Yes. Two. Right. Okay. Yes.
My question is to Emilia. What did you feel about your character? Were you judgmental towards the character, or were you just, flowing with it?
Sorry, was I what?
What was your reaction?
Judgmental.
Yeah. What did you feel about your character? Do you have?
I certainly wasn't judgmental towards her. When I read the script, I was interested in seeing if you could do something in a short space of time with someone who has an addiction to him and can't stop it and is deeply unhappy, and that is why she behaves as she does. So you can't judge someone, I don't think, for their behaviour. In that case, she was just unable to get out of it. She was unable to get out of her marriage. She was unable to get out of her love for him. One could call that a weakness, yes, but I think she was so deep into it. I think she was she is an incredibly selfish person, and certainly selfish and difficult with her daughter. But it's quite hard to judge a character that you're playing, because I don't think you do justice to them, because they think that they're doing the right thing at the time. It was just very enjoyable to play for me, because it was so different.
I loved your lines.
I did too.
She's my mom.
We have time for 2 more questions, so I think there was one over there earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there was mentioned that there was a long time passed after you actually filmed this, and now. So, do you feel, or did you gain new standpoints towards the film when a long time passed so far than you had just after the shooting? Do you know what I mean?
As in, like the kind of how you do your feelings for it change? Do you mean?
Yeah, did anything change? Would you say you have a different standpoint, or something else came to your mind, or you feel differently about the film?
It was weird because it was really quick, the whole thing. Well, for me particularly, because I was one of the last kind of people in place, so it was, we shot the first week of January, is it? Second week of January. Second week of January, so it's kind of, you're just coming back from
Hawaii.
yeah. I was going to say Christmas, but it was Hawaii. But you and so we kind of, and because it was so quick, it was 6-day weeks, and we were just immediately immersed in it, and we did very long shooting days, and then as I suppose from our point of view as the actors, you've no real idea what then will be done in edit or with the score or anything like that. So you kind of, and it's always the same. You can. But I think particularly with this, I suppose it was a real. Everything was kind of a surprise, and when we saw it for the first time, because you had no real sense of scenes a lot of the time. For me, particularly because I was playing opposite myself, and I've worked with a fantastic actress, Susanna Day, who was my double in the scenes, and so I had no sense of kind of what it looked like, and so then to watch it was seeing something completely brand new, and in a weird way, it was everything I expected it to be and nothing I expected it to be, which is a really kind of crap way of answering your question. Sorry.
And last one, yeah.
I really enjoyed the film. I just wondered how each of you judged the film, what criteria you used to judge its success. What criteria you used to judge its
With producer, it's easy.
I had a meeting once after I did my first movie, and with Rico Kasich, anybody knows Rico Kasich from the Cars? And he told me, don't read reviews, because when you see it printed on paper, you believe, if it's a great review, you believe in it, and you walk around saying, well, I'm a great filmmaker, and if you read a bad review, you believe it, and you feel you're horrible. So I think for me, it's what you just said. I just try to listen to what people get out of the movie, and for my own personal also, I look at myself and judge myself alone at home, where I think I succeeded and where I think I failed, and what I'm learning for next time.
How did you feel the success for you? Yeah, I think I would never kind of ever consider something if I was in something that was really financially successful and I was in something that wasn't, I would never think one failed and the other succeeded in any way. It's never. I think it's just whether you feel a sense of pride. You feel a sense of pride that is on your CV. I think that's the only judgment there is, because you could do jobs that no one sees. I've done ones that have gone literally straight to DVD in Ireland and I've never got released here. So but I'm so proud of that job. Swan song, which I don't think anyone can get on every day. That's pretty good. But I'm, you're really proud of it. But I don't know how you can. I don't know how you measure that. It's just like you say. For us, we were part of the process, and then you watch the film, and it's something then that you like. Yeah, I was in that, and that you have a pride towards that.
I think we're probably our own harshest critics, personally,
Yeah.
aren't we?
Yeah.
So judging one's own success is difficult, but if you're pleased with even one moment, then that's good. If you're pleased with more, then it's a real bonus. But no, you can't judge. I definitely wouldn't judge things on financial success. It's people sitting here and they enjoyed it. If one person enjoys it, that's fantastic. And you say you did. So that's we're all a success.
I think I agree. I feel the same way. I always think that the most important thing with anything you do is if you get your message across. And I think as a musician, people talk about technique, and if they see somebody with an amazing technique. But technique, I think, is really actually being able to get your message across to the audience. And if you've achieved that, then that's success. Because, like you're saying, we criticise ourselves constantly. I do it every day. When you get that horrible wave of pain that goes through you when something horrible has happened. I get that regularly about things I've said or written or played on a daily basis. And then, you know, afterwards you sort of go to bed at night and say, really, it wasn't that bad, was it? You know, you carry on.
There's another person here that I have to mention, Stephen Sorrell, because he was a great supporter of, he's here, right, Stephen? He was a great supporter of the movie. He loves Guy and helped us in securing the soundtrack and getting Guy on board and all that. It was really fantastic. Thank you.
I well, producers are supposed to say that financial return is a satisfactory outcome of a movie, but you learn that I have my family here, my wife, my lovely wife, and my son, and if they are happy,
Can I just say quickly, I'm getting all the music stuff thrown at me. I was just part of the music you heard on screen. Sandy, who wrote the score, did a fantastic, beautiful job, and that's the real, you know, storytelling work in music. And you should get a round of applause.
That's all the time we have, but